Mrs. Bratati Choudhury, Assistant Secretary of PARIVAAR Bengal, Associate Professor of Physics, and founder of Chinsura Sen Society, and mother of Aratrik De, a 23 years old non-speaking poet. I will request respected Dr. Amrita Panda, one of our panelists, to come on the stage. Amrita Panda, PhD in Rehabilitation Pathology, primarily an academic researcher with a handful of national and international publications and conference presentations, turned a social worker, the founder and managing director of Deep Ranjani Foundation, a non-profit company focused on supporting individuals with developmental disability, reclaiming autonomy, inclusion, and empowerment through vocational skill training and employment generation from Kolkata. I will request our second panelist, Mr. Avik Mukherjee, self-advocate, to come on the stage. Avik Mukherjee began his educational journey in the UK, returning to India at the age of 8, and he completed his O-level and A-level examination at the Cambridge School, Kolkata. Pursued a degree in hospitality management from Edinburgh Napier University, Scotland. Following his graduation, he worked briefly at Taj Ganges, Varanasi, but soon he realized that his temperament was better suited to other fields, and he explored diverse interests, including content writing and filmmaking, before finding his calling in mental health and counseling. I will request our third panelist, respected Dr. Sudeshna Chowdhury, to come on stage. Sudeshna Chowdhury holds a PhD in biotechnology from Jadavpur University and has previously worked as a scientist in an international company. However, her professional journey took a transformative turn when her son, Shorashish, was diagnosed with autism. Driven by a deep sense of purpose, she left her job to pursue a B.Ed in special education, where she excelled as a gold medalist from Manavikash Kendra. Now, she serves as the principal of Bhavna Child Development Center and Ananda Ashrama unique community living system in West Bengal. I will request our fourth panelist, Mr. Sumit Agarwal, self-advocate, to come on stage. Sumit is a distinguished advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, dedicated to promoting inclusivity and championing the rights of persons with disability, both in India and internationally. She was born with cerebral palsy, undergoing through 4 surgeries. Despite these obstacles, he demonstrated remarkable resilience and determination and served as a DEI advisor to Fortune 500 companies. He is also a LinkedIn top voice, with his insights reaching over 200 million viewers. Welcome you all for today's panel discussion. So, ma'am, Please, over to moderator, Bratati Choudhary ma'am.
Thank you, Shushmita. Good morning, everyone. Today, the opening session is about adaptive social behavior and community inclusion for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So, we all know that as families and professionals and advocates, that we all recognize that the social adaptability is the key to a fulfilling life, and the ability to communicate, to interact, to integrate into society determines a person's independence and well-being. But however, we also know that many individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities face barriers and that limit their participation in the so-called mainstream society. So today, our esteemed panelists will discuss the challenges and, more importantly, the solutions to create a more inclusive society. So before we start, I'd like to request the audience, for the constraint of time, that there is an interactive session after the talk is over. So please write down your questions and the name of the panelists and give those paper sheets to our hall volunteers, and we will discuss it after the session is over. So now I'd like to request Dr. Amrita Panda to present her view.
Very good morning to everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, welcome to Kolkata. Welcome to the parents' meet of PARIVAAR. I thank PARIVAAR India and PARIVAAR Bengal for giving us this opportunity to be here today and to talk about some of the nuances of our journey. Thank you for having faith in the comparatively younger generation. So, our topic is social adaptive behavior and community. It's a panel discussion, so I think we were not supposed to have individual presentations, but anyway, we have a presentation, but I am not really very much interested in focusing on the presentation. I would like it to be more interactive, and if you can come up with your questions in any language, I would be very happy to respond to you. So all of us know, most of us are parents here, some of you are professionals and parents or just professionals, but you have spent a significant amount of time of your life in the field of rehabilitation. So we all know that social adaptive behavior is one area where we do everything else, but we have to come back to it. It's because social adaptive behavior comprises of three primary areas. It's the behaviors, those are related to the conceptual, social, and practical aspects of day-to-day life. When I say conceptual, that means that the behaviors which are required for day-to-day life, maybe how to brush your teeth, maybe how to do money transaction, maybe how to go through a maze, and then it comes to the social behavior. Social behavior किसको बोलते हैं? Social behavior वो है जो हम कितने अच्छे से हमारे सोसाइटी के साथ घुल मिल रहे हैं, कितने अच्छे से सोसाइटी का जो एक्सपेक्टेशन है वो हम समझ पा रहे हैं, कितने अच्छे से सोसाइटी का जो जो रूल्स हैं उसके माफिक चल रहे हैं, उसका एक ट्रेनिंग है, उसका एक सीख है जो हम कोशिश करते हैं बच्चों को सिखाने के लिए. दो आई हैव serious reservation on that. Still, we would talk about it today, and I would like to briefly explain that why this social behavior, social adaptive behavior is important to us. It's important because of a lot of things. हम एक जो डेली एक्टिविटी है उसमें हम कितने इंडिपेंडेंट हैं, कितना हमारा पेरेंट्स के ऊपर या केयर गिवर्स के ऊपर डिपेंडेंसी है, वो डिपेंड करता है कि हम कितने अच्छे से अपने आप को संभाल पा रहे हैं. तो दैट वे adaptive behaviors are very important. And like most of you, I am also a parent of a 12-year-old, but it's a little different from most of you because मैंने मेरे बच्ची को वो मुझे मिली है 11 साल की उम्र में, क्योंकि मैंने उसे अडॉप्ट किया है. She is a non-verbal child with autism, and it's a pleasure to be her mother and to have this journey with her, because many a times when we look at our children, we find that they are not doing things which we want them to do. हम लोग जैसे चाह रहे हैं वैसे नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो हमको सबको पता है प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर हम बहुत बार बोलते हैं. तो प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर है क्या? अगर आप एक मोमेंट लेते हो और एक मोमेंट लेके आप खुद सोचते हो कि आपके बच्चे की एक प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर क्या है, और उसके बाद इमीडिएटली अगर आप एक बार सोचोगे ये प्रॉब्लम बिहेवियर में प्रॉब्लम किसका है, most of the times we will find it's not a problem for the person, it's a problem for the society. It's our shame, it's we are uncomfortable with the behavior. So when we are talking about social adaptive behavior, जो हमारी पहली important चीज है वो है सेफ्टी. हमें सबसे आगे सेफ्टी के ऊपर ध्यान रखना है. कैसे हम बिहेवियर ट्रेन कर सकते हैं जिससे सेफ्टी बना रहे. हम लोग बहुत बार हमारा जो सोशल एक्सपेक्टेशन है, जो सोशल कल्चर है, हम जहां से सीखते हैं, हम देखते हैं कि even in India, in different parts of India, the cultural social expectations are very different. So हम बच्चों को कितना प्रेशराइज करें. I will like to share an experience of mine. मेरी बेटी को मैंने 11 साल की उम्र में adopt किया, so it's been just 1.5 years. So in the last puja, we went to a puja pandal, and instead of doing namaskar to the goddess, she raised her right leg, and that's her regular way of greeting somebody new. So that is her way of saying hi. So the priest was extremely disturbed. What is happening? Why is this is a bad person? So I was, as a parent, as a professional, I was absolutely not awkward, because I told the priest that this is her way of saying namaskar. So I'm sure that he was not convinced, but I guess if we can continue doing that, and if we can continue explaining things, it's not necessary that the way we look at things are the best ways. हम लोग जैसे चीजों को करते हैं, जैसे चीजों को देखते हैं, वही सही है. ये सही का जो कोट अनकोट जो हमारा जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, ये आप अगर सोचोगे तो देखोगे कि किसी ने नहीं कहा है, किसी ने सर्टिफिकेट नहीं दिया है कि ये सही है. हमने ये अज्यूम किया है. हम जो खुद को नॉर्मल समझते हैं, जिसमें मेरे लिए बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क है कि at all are we normals? The way we treat minority, I do not see ourselves as normals. So ये चीज बहुत important है कि हम लोग कोई भी behavior सिखाने से पहले हम safety को focus रखें, कौन सा चीज सबसे जरूरी है बच्चे के खुद के लिए और एक adult के खुद के लिए, और कौन सा चीज उसको डेली लाइफ में हेल्प करेगा, कौन सा चीज उसको इंडिपेंडेंट लिविंग में हेल्प करेगा, वही हमको सोशल अडैप्टिव बिहेवियर में वही हमको ज्यादा फोकस करना है। सोसाइटी क्या बोल रहे हैं, सोसाइटी का क्या रिकमेंडेशन है, वो सब कुछ है, पर उसमें एक बहुत बड़ा पावर डायनामिक्स भी है। Whether we want ourselves to be part of that power dynamics, that's our choice. So that is something that I wanted to focus in my talk. And of course, social behavior in an adaptive social behavior, when a child is lacking in adaptive social behavior, क्या करेंगे, कैसे उसको सिखाना है, ये that's a very common question. So कैसे करना है? First of all, definitely we need to understand the child. So assessment is important, and of course you need behavior modification. But trust me, behavior modification doesn't happen in isolation. एक चेंबर में जाके half an hour का behavior modification session, it sounds very unrealistic, because behavior modification is a process that goes on in a school, at home, in society, everywhere. So when you are targeting a behavior to change, you really need to see what is generating that behavior. जहां पर मेरी लड़की पैर उठा रही है, वो she is from a family which is very abusive. Her biological family had been very abusive. There was not a single day when she was not bleeding, and she has always heard no. So she wants to raise the leg and wants me to say no. So that's the need behind that problem behavior. And if I understand the need, I will cater to the need. And what I do with my girl is that whenever she raises her leg, I say, your feet is wonderful. So she gets the attention, but she doesn't hear no. So the purpose of any problem behavior speaks a lot. Problem behavior can reflect the crisis within the human being. So हमें सुनना है थोड़ा सा, हम जो चीज ज्यादातर करते हैं वो है कि ये करो वो ना करो, क्यों करना है, क्यों वो कर रही है, इसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा ध्यान ज्यादा देना है। अगर हम वो कर पाएंगे तो हमें लगता है कि वो हमारे बच्चों के लिए और हम सबके लिए बहुत मीनिंगफुल होगा। And it will be and let's not assume that we are we are here to fix them. There is no fixing. That the fact that we are better is just an uneducated assumption, unrealistic, and I'm sorry for hurting any emotion. It's an uneducated, unrealistic assumption. In many ways, they are better than the normals. So let's not fix them. Let's try to hear them out. Let's try to see them. Let's see the pain that they have inside and connect there, so that we can create a family, so that we can be happy and we can create an ambience where we can thrive together happily. So that's all. I'm sorry I couldn't go by the slides.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amrita Panda. And audience, please write down your questions so our volunteers will collect it. And now I request Mr. Avik Mukherjee to present his views.
Hello, I'm Avik Mukherjee. I'm a psychologist, and I suffer from dyslexia. So I've throughout my life, while the presentation is just paper, right? I will be sharing certain challenges which I have faced while I've been growing up. So, so IDT can be defined as significant limitation which occurs both in intellectual and functioning and adaptive behavior. Developmental disabilities, which is what like I suffer from, broader category. They encompass of chronic conditions that begin during development. The prevalence of IDD in India, like, is there's not enough data because of the varying diagnostic criteria. IDD can result from genetic conditions, parental factors, or postnatal events. Poverty, malnutrition, and lack of access to healthcare are major factors in India. So, a lot of times when people with intellectual disabilities are denied education opportunities, even like in my case, even after clearing the entrance exam in a very prestigious school, as soon as they knew that I had dyslexia, they said that they cannot take me because they don't apparently they were a new school and they did not have adequate facilities to deal with my condition. Healthcare disabilities. I mean, there's not one roof place where all the needs of a child with disabilities can be met with. I mean, I recently gone through the process of the acquiring a disability certification, and what I notice is that me having sensory issues, like in the government hospitals, the amount of noise causes a lot of sensory stimulation and causes a lot of problems. And during the certification process, there were a lot of people in the room at the same time, and like having their assessments done. So the amount of noise also had an effect on the performance of the my thing, and like because I was different, because my behavior was different. During my school time, I was given labels as pagal, psycho, which had a huge effect on my mental health, as it caused a lot of distress, and it had a lot of it affected my self-esteem a lot. So in terms of mental health, people with IDD suffer with increased level of anxiety, and this is due to social challenges. Even like a lot of people used to say, "इससे तो कुछ नहीं होगा, ये कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा, he's a failure." Like he's a black sheep in the family. So this caused a lot of anxiety and depression in me because these labels made me like doubt my abilities. However, over the time and during my journey as a mental health professional, I felt that with the correct support, so people with IDD can thrive and can live an absolute normal life. The behavioral issues, there's a lot of frustration. I mean, doing simple things become a challenge. For me, even folding things, which people think is a very easy thing, is a massive challenge. So this causes a lot of frustration, and it irritates me that I can't do the simplest of things, and it's a major burden. And constantly listening to criticism that you can't do this, and it hurts. So the societal attitude and stigma is there's limited public understanding about IDD perception and misconceptions. This fuels negative attitudes and discriminations. When I was young, people often used to say that I'm lazy. I like that I can do everything, but it is just because I'm lazy and I'm not interested that I avoid to do things. But that is not the thing. I avoided things because like I felt since it was challenging, I tended to avoid things. And then there's cultural beliefs that some people believe that disabilities are a curse or something like that. However, I mean, disabilities is on the eye of the beholder. So, like, what people believe is a disability. For example, like while growing up, I never really believed I had a disability. It was only the people around me who constantly like bombarded me with that you are not normal, you are somebody who have who are facing challenges. And then there's media portrayal, which often like causes stereotypes. However, in my case, the media portrayal like Tarzan Impar was a changing point in my life. Like people who did not believe and did not understand dyslexia was actually a problem started to understand me. Even my own father, who like dismissed that I wasn't trying to learn how to learn, finally understood that dyslexia is a genuine problem, and that people and that it can be a condition. Then he started working and trying to help others with dyslexia. So that was a major changing point in my life. It is important to raise awareness and challenge stereotypes and crucial. So next comes the importance of adaptive social behavior. So, effective communication enables interaction and self-expression. It builds confidence and fosters relationships. Social Social skills helps in understanding social cues and norms, facilitating inclusion. Negative social situations become easier. In self-care, developing independence in daily living, enhancing self-esteem, managing personal hygiene and task levels is vital. It is important to address challenges and promote autonomy. It enables participation in community living. So, these are ways of promoting social interactions, peer support programs. It is like, especially in schools, creating a buddy system helps foster friendship. Mentorship programs connect individuals with IDD and their peers. It is like programs like these, which empower families to support social interactions, is essential, and provide resources and training to caregivers. Social skills training, like fun activities like role playing activities, teach appropriate social behaviors and cultural relevance should be guide training. It is important to encourage participation in local festivals and events, promoting inclusion, adaptive in activities, and accessibility. Over here, in the case of inclusion, people a lot of time think that they are including themselves by just tolerating people with disabilities. However, inclusion does not mean like tolerating an individual with disability. It means to actively include them in the activities through reasonable accommodations which can help them. So awareness programs such as this is very important to help understand the problems of people with IDD. Then there's accessible infrastructure should be there, such as ramps. Then there should be cultural events and so I'm summing up. The people with mental disorders, with disabilities, face a lot of challenges, and it is important that we as a society include them in the day-to-day life and not like just focus on the negativities, but also focus on their abilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee, for that you have shared your lived experience, and it is a very eye-opening for us, for all of us. Thank you. And audience, again, please, if you have any question, please write it down. And I'd like to request Dr. Sudeshna Chowdhury to present her view now.
Namaskar, I'm Dr. Sudeshna Chowdhury, and I just want to add some points to the topic adaptive social behavior and community inclusion for PwIDDs. Thanks to Dr. Panda and Avik, Mr. Avik, because they have said a lot about adaptive social behavior, so I want to skip these slides. Okay. These are not needed. I think that's not needed. Just one thing I want to say that we all need to learn these social adaptive behaviors. The difference is that we so-called neurotypicals learn these skills from our childhood by observation, by imitating someone, or by social cues. But some people with special needs or the neurodiverse people need some extra effort to learn that. That is the difference, nothing more. And now I want to focus on the another important term, that is community inclusion. The first, the community inclusion. What is community inclusion? Community inclusion is actively creating a place where every person of a community, mind the word, every person of the community, regardless of their background, identity, and abilities, feel welcomed, valued, and they have the access to participate in social behavior, social, academic, social, economic and civic life. Therefore, inclusion is not about charity. It's about human rights and equal opportunities. So, what is the importance of What is the importance of social inclusion for PwIDs and for society? There are several. All of us know that why inclusion is important. For PwIDs, I just written these things. But for society, it makes the society much more compassionate and it enhances educational and workplace environments. I'm just passing the slide quickly. Now I want to share my personal experience. For last few years, I'm working in a residential setup called Ananda Ashram, which nowadays become a community living system. So, a residential setup, what first comes in our mind? Most of us think it's a confined place where people with special needs reside and and they are taken care of. And they have very less opportunity to interact with the outside world. But if we plan properly and if the plan ensures independence, inclusion, and quality of life, then a residential center can become a community living system. Now, I want to share some of the very, very basic strategies we are applying in Ananda Ashram. First one is the person-centered planning. Why person-centered planning is needed? Because every individual is unique. Therefore, their needs, their preferences, and their goal of life will be different. Therefore, applying a same plan to everyone is not going to work if we want to include them and if we want to train them in social adaptive behavior. For that purpose, we need to assess them and plan accordingly. And during preparing the plan, two things we must keep in our mind. One is the person for whom the plan is prepared. We must include them. And second, this PCP must include daily living, safety skills, social skills, healthcare, vocational training or employment training. I'm giving a picture of person-centered plan, but the picture is not so clear. Next, what is needed? That is a modification of housing and environment. Why it is needed? As Dr. Panda said, it ensures safety, accessibility, comfort, and independence. It's quite natural now because we must feel safe, comfort, and independent where we are living. Therefore, we can construct a place in such a way that everyone can move everywhere, everyone can go everywhere. For that purpose, we can use wheelchair-friendly ramps. We can construct some sensory path or sensory park, which will be which will help the person who has some sensory issues or sensory disintegration. They will feel comfortable. And another thing is that using of visual schedules. Why visual schedule is needed? Because visual schedule help to organize a day for the persons with special needs, and it gives them predictability, and therefore it reduces their anxiety. Next slide. Another important thing is skill development for independent living. Why it is needed? Because it promotes independence, boosts confidence, and enhances quality of life. Most of us think people who are residing in a residential place, we need not to train them much because mostly they're taken care of by others. But in order to include them into the society, we need to train them in self-care, money concept, time concept, road safety, cooking, and home maintenance. And for in some cases, we can use some assistive devices or adaptive technology that also promotes their independence. Here in the picture, this boy is given training on applying the cream on his body. Training on cooking is going on, and these are the communication cards which are used by our non-verbal security people to communicate with visitors. Next slide. Community integration. That is a very important thing because we are all saying about inclusion, community inclusion. And why it is important for our residents? Because it promotes inclusion, independence, and well-being. How we can do that? We can facilitate opportunities for them to participate in community activities, build relationships, and develop social networks. There are some pictures where our residents are taking part in some local festival and marriage ceremony. And we can create some opportunity that will enhance awareness and acceptance. Why? Because it promotes understanding and acceptance of PwIDDs within the community to reduce stigma and discrimination, what Avik was saying previously. Next. Next is supported employment and vocational training. Why it is needed? Because it promotes independence, self-sufficiency, and enhances the chance of social inclusion. So we should provide job coaching, vocational training, and create workplace areas. Here are some of the roles taken up by our residents in Ananda Ashram. And yes, and we can, and for to create an inclusive environment, we can partner with local businesses, organizations, and community groups so that the people with special needs can work with them. And another important thing is access to healthcare and support services. Responding to an emergency situation is very important, and it is a very crucial social adaptive skill. So in a residential setup, we can train them we can train our residents to how to respond to an emergency situation. And another is the transportation and mobility. In most of the cases, what we have seen that special arrangements are made for the transportation of special needs. But if we can create some opportunities so that we can visit some places, or we can arrange for tours, short tours, and train them to assess local transports like bus, train, toto, auto, then it will enhances lots of social adaptive skills like communication, social skills, money exchange, their self-confidence enhances, decision-making ability enhances. At the same time, their acceptability in society also increase. And this is the last but not the least, family and the caregiver involvement. Why it is important? Because these people play the most important role in the emotional well-being of the person with special needs. And in a residential setup, caregiver, I just don't want to say the word caregiver. That I personally I don't like the word. The support people. Actually, these support people plays a very vital role. And for that reason, we need to train them time to time so that they can understand what is different types of intellectual and developmental disabilities, how to prepare person-centric plans, and how to provide positive support strategies. So these are very basic things, very basic things. I think there is there are lots of things to do, but I have just shared few of my experiences. So by focusing on some of these basic principles, a residential space can be transformed into a compassionate community system that empowers PwIDDs, promoting dignity. The word is very important to me, promoting dignity, independence, and meaningful social connections. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sudeshna Chowdhury. And I request our hall volunteers to please collect the questions from the audience. If you have any question, please write it down and hand it over to our hall volunteers. Now, our last panelist, Mr. Sumit Agarwal, who is a self-advocate. Please, sir. If you feel comfortable, you can talk while sitting.
morning. Good morning, Calcutta. Hello. Good morning, Calcutta. So, Hindi, English or Bangla? Ekটু তাড়াতাড়ি.
Mix.
All right. All right. So, apart from being a self-advocate, I'm also the icon of Election Commission of India, and I'm the MOC for Niti Aayog, Government of India. And as the executive ambassador for DEI, Diversity, Equity and Inclusion, I would love to share some statistics with you because I feel data is missing in this sector. And if you feel like noting it down, you can note it down as well. Only 1% of people with intellectual disabilities are employed in the country. Around 75% of people with intellectual disabilities don't receive any formal education. 75% people with intellectual disabilities কিন্তু কোনোদিন স্কুলে যায় না. Around 70% of parents of people with intellectual disabilities experience very high stress. People always talk about the people with intellectual disabilities. Nobody talks about the parents. The parents also have to manage such amounts of extreme stress daily, right? But they never give up. You all are the cornerstones of hope for people with intellectual disabilities because your child is somewhere in life because you never gave up. Claps for you. Around 80% of people with intellectual disabilities do not get any peer group support or any community involvement because along with people with intellectual disabilities, family को भी isolate कर दिया जाता है. बगल में नेबर का बर्थडे चल रहा है, आपका बेटे का इनविटेशन तो भूल गया देना. गलती से रह गया मेरे पास. Because we don't involve. Because we are afraid of anybody who's different. ये अलग है तो ये different है. इसको मत involve करो. इससे दूर रहो. That starts with education. Only 0.5% of teachers in India have any form of inclusive training. And only 2% schools in India are inclusive schools. What is the solution? What is the solution to all of this? This sounds very depressing, but उतना भी depressing है नहीं. Because साथ मिलके हम लोग काफी कुछ कर सकते हैं. We have to focus our efforts in the right direction, and as said by the Honorable President of PARIVAAR, Dr. Mukherjee, अकेले कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Can I show you a solution right now? Can all of you जो लोग खड़े हो सकते हैं प्लीज खड़े हो जाइए. प्लीज खड़े हो जाइए. जो लोग खड़े हो सकते हैं. अब मैं जो कर रहा हूँ मेरे साथ अब वो करने की कोशिश कीजिए. एक उंगली से ताली बजाइए प्लीज. नहीं बज रही है. 2 उंगली से बजाइए प्लीज. फिर भी नहीं बज रही है. 3 उंगली से बजाइए. नहीं बज रही है. 4 उंगली से बजाइए. नहीं बज रही है. फिर भी 5 उंगली से बजाइए. Right effort in the right place together can only make an impact. तभी कुछ ना कुछ हो सकता है. प्लीज बैठ जाइए. अगर साथ में मिलके करेंगे तभी कुछ होगा. Because India has one of the largest and youngest populations in the world, and we are a young emerging population. हम लोग कंट्री के अपॉर्चुनिटीज फास्ट है. अभी AI आ रही है, artificial intelligence, there are softwares, there's voice recognition softwares like ours, there's so many assistive technologies available right now. अगर आपको इसके बारे में जानकारी है, तब आप काफी कुछ कर सकते हैं. There's the Niramaya Health Scheme. There's so many schemes from the government. There's from the NI of DC, National Handicap Finance Development Corporation. You can do entrepreneurship opportunities as a parent of a person with intellectual disability. काफी कुछ आप कर सकते हैं. There are so many work from home opportunities as well, right? The person, if he can do something on the computer, maybe data entry, maybe typing something, you don't even need to go out of your house. आपके अपना बाड़ी बाड़े जेते होवे ना, आप घर से बैठ के काफी सारे काम कर सकते हैं, right? पहले मैं जब बड़ा हो रहा था तब इतनी टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं थी, and technology is a great enabler. दिक्कत क्या है? Only around 68% in this country, 68% of intellectual disabilities are not even aware of the rights. कि हमारा राइट तक ही मेरा अधिकार क्या है, मुझे ये भी नहीं पता, बिकॉज कोई बताते नहीं है उनको. अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम्स आर द कॉर्नरस्टोन ऑफ द कंट्री ऑफ द कम्युनिटी. अगर अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम्स रहेगा तब कुछ ना कुछ हो सकता है. मैं जब बड़ा हो रहा था, मेरी 4 सर्जरीज हो चुकी थी. 30 स्कूलों से मुझे रिजेक्ट किया गया, 30 स्कूल. मेरी माँ एक लॉयर थी. She quit her job and she knocked on the doors of schools that he is also going to study in a mainstream school, right? And I studied, right? जब मैं MBA कर रहा था तब मेरी माँ को लोगों ने बोला कि आप एक दूसरे बच्चे अडॉप्ट कर लो, क्योंकि ये तो बड़ा होकर कुछ कर नहीं पाएगा, आपको कौन देखेगा, आपको उम्र हो जाएगा तो आपको कौन देखेगा. This is a question that you parents also get, right? आपको कौन देखेगा, आप तो बच्चे को देख लोगे मगर आपको कौन देखेगा, राइट? जब मैं MBA कर रहा था तो मेरी मम्मी को बोला कि आप इतने पैसे मत खर्च करो इसे. I not only did my MBA but also topped MBA from IPA across the country. मुझे लोगों ने बोला था कि ये कुछ कर नहीं पाएगा. Today I am an advisor to Fortune 500 companies. This is my responsibility to prove people wrong. लोग कुछ भी चाहे बोलेंगे, लोगों को तो काम है बोलना, लेकिन ये आपका ऊपर है, आप उसको कैसे लोगे. मुझे एक एस्ट्रोलॉजर ने बोला था, राइट? मैं उस टाइम 25 साल का था. मुझे एक एस्ट्रोलॉजर ने बोला था कि ये 30 साल की उम्र में मर जाएगा, इससे कुछ नहीं होगा. आज मैं 33 साल का हूँ, वो एस्ट्रोलॉजर मर चुका है. So, आपके ऊपर है, आप क्या कर सकते हो. There are rights, there are changes being done. In the previous general elections, most of the parties have disability in the manifesto, right, as an agenda. Around 85 lakh people with disabilities voted from across India. घर घर में जाके इलेक्शन ऑफिसर्स ने वोट लिया है उनका. मैं भी उनमें से एक था. Changes are being done in this country. We just have to be patient and we just have to raise our voices a little bit louder. क्योंकि साथ में ही कुछ हो सकता है. Otherwise, we are not a country of despair. We are a country of hope, emerging country of hope. And let us show that Bharat is for everybody. Bharat is not just for so-called normal people. Let us be the new hope for the upcoming generation and show that we as a country can do anything and everything possible. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Mr. Sumit Agarwal, for your so encouraging discussion about your lived experience, about the statistics. Statistics are very important. And audience, please, if you have any other question, please hand it over to our hall volunteers. So I have got some of the questions. So let us start the panel discussion. Now the question is to Amrita Panda madam. Does social behavior changes with the environment, such as temperature, height, sound, etc.? I'm a father of a non-speaking autistic. He feels comfortable during winter, but in summer he feels disturbed.
Yes, I guess that is very much related. And more than adaptive social behavior, I mean, the outcome can be adaptive social behavior of this particular behavioral change in different seasons. But should I stand back? But I guess that a lot of sensory issues can also be related with it. That can change with the seasons. That can get even more uncomfortable with in different seasons. So yes, that is definitely a possibility. You are the closest observer of your child, and if you can take support, if you can ask help from a special educator or a psychologist, I think there can be uh, a right diagnosis and a management plan how to go about it. Could I answer the question?
Thank you. And another question is to you again. How the adaptive social behaviors can be taught into as acceptable social behavior? How it can be taught?
Yes, I think the adaptive social behavior, how it can be taught, I couldn't focus on that in my talk, but I guess it's better as early as it can start. the बच्चा जितना छोटा है, अगर हम बहुत एकदम छोटे बच्चे से शुरू कर सकते हैं तो उसका इम्पैक्ट ज्यादा होता है. आपने पूछा है कि कैसे किया जा सकता है, कैसे हम सोशल बिहेवियर सिखा सकते हैं. इट्स अ लॉन्ग आंसर. ऑफ कोर्स सोशल बिहेवियर सिखाने के लिए जो पहला चीज है वो हमें देखना है, एक असेसमेंट करना है कि कहाँ पे है वो, उसका अभी का स्टैंड कहाँ पे है, क्या स्ट्रेंथ्स है, क्या लिमिटेशंस हैं. उसके बाद हमें गोल सिलेक्ट करना है. एक ही साथ हम बहुत सारे गोल नहीं लेते हैं. हम गोल सिलेक्शन के टाइम में फोकस करते हैं कौन सी चीजें आर द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग्स फॉर हर डेली लिविंग. मुझे क्या चाहिए, दैट इज नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट. एक बच्चे के लिए कौन सा चीज सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, उस पर पहले फोकस करना. So accordingly, and you know that in special education process, the way we teach these skills, we break the skills into different steps, and the steps can be very different for each individual. Maybe एक बच्चे को उस steps में और भी छोटे छोटे breakdowns जरूरी है, छोटे छोटे steps बीच में जरूरी है. So it's important to understand the comfort, the need of the person, and then plan management, I guess. And when we do management, continuous assessment of the outcome at a certain interval is of course also required. And trust me, ये social adaptive behavior ये सिर्फ स्कूल में या किसी के क्लिनिक में नहीं होता है. It has to be a team effort, and the team consists the parents, the family, the special educators, the psychologists, and everybody around, and the person himself. I'm so sorry. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. And now the question is to Avik Mukherjee. So, what was your turning point of life to move in a positive direction?
So there was various turning points, but one of the primary one was when I decided to pursue like my post-graduation diploma in counseling and well-being. During that time, I was able to express a lot of my issues, and I was able to heal. And currently, I'm also pursuing a post-graduation diploma in disability rehabilitation management, which is giving me a clearer picture of the road ahead and what steps are required to make proper implementation. There's a lot of policies in paper, but it is time to make the implementation of that those policies better. So this course is currently making me is definitely a turning point in my life.
Thank you. And Ms. Mukherjee rightly said that there is not only one turning point, there are many turning points. And now the question is to Dr. Sudeshna Chowdhury. Social inclusion presupposes social acceptance. So how can we change the mindset of the society if we confine PwIDD in homes and separate villages?
Yes. Initially, in a residential setup, if we think typically about a residential setup, then we are separating them. But if we create several opportunities to interact with the community where they are living, and we if we can make different types of awareness programs, and how the community get aware, if we interact them, if we create proper awareness, that is very much needed. And if we create proper awareness to the locality where we reside or the people with special needs resides, then community inclusion is possible. And according to my experience, in a residential setup, if we plan properly, then we can create a more inclusive setup with the outside community, which is not possible in home environment. Always, it's not possible. And the peer interaction, that is also very much important. Inclusion within the family, within the residential setup is the prime importance, and then we will include them into the society. That is very much important. Most of the people who are living with their home, I think they are not included within their family. Therefore, to me, inclusion will first start at home. We need to include the people within the family. Then the community will include them. I think that will serve my answer.
Thank you. And Sir, Dr.
Yes.
Maru is going to include.
एक्चुअली बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन था और मैंने इसको नागदा जैसी छोटी जगह में इम्प्लीमेंट किया है, इसलिए मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि समाज से इंक्लूजन कैसे किया जाए। जहां से मैं आता हूं, नागदा बहुत छोटा सा शहर है, 1 लाख की पॉपुलेशन है, और जैसा हम सब पेरेंट्स जानते हैं कि जब भी इस तरह के बच्चे आते हैं तो समाज उनको किस दृष्टि से देखता है। और जब इस तरह की ऑर्गेनाइजेशन शुरू करते हैं तो अपने यहाँ 2 मॉडल हैं, दोनों बहुत एक्सट्रीम है। एक मॉडल में सोसाइटी सोचती है कि ये दया का पात्र है और इसके साथ कुछ करेंगे तो बहुत पुण्य मिलेगा, और दूसरा मॉडल है जिसमें वो ये सोचती है कि ये तो पूर्व जन्मों का पाप है, इसे भुगतने। बोथ आर द एक्सट्रीम मॉडल्स। और जब हमने शुरू किया तो लोग हमारे यहाँ आए, ये पुराने कपड़े ले लो, ये बचा हुआ खाना ले लो, इन बच्चों को खिला दो। आई हैव नेवर एक्सेप्टेड। लोगों ने कहा कि बहुत इगोइस्टिक है, ये क्या है, चैरिटी में ये तो एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं करते। लेकिन कई बार क्या होता है कि लोगों तक उस बात को पहुंचाने के लिए कुछ ऐसी बातों का सहारा भी लेना पड़ता है जिससे वो जल्दी समझ जाए। और चूंकि उन्हें समझाना था, स्पिरिचुअलिज्म में जब हम बात करते हैं तो पहले हम सगुण भक्ति करते हैं और फिर धीरे धीरे निर्गुण निराकार की तरफ जाते हैं, तो एकदम से नहीं जा सकते। तो मैंने उन्हें समझाया एक बात को, मैंने कहा मुझे एक बात बताइए, आप बचा हुआ खाना लेके आए, आप जानते हैं भगवान की परिभाषा क्या होती है? जो क्राम क्रोध मान माया मोह लोभ इनसे परे वो भगवान। भगवान को झूठा आप चढ़ाओगे कभी, तो फिर इन बच्चों को क्यों चढ़ाते हैं? लोगों को समझ में आएगा। उसके बाद का परिवर्तन बता रहा हूं। उसके बाद चेंजेस ये हुआ कि जब कई जगह से शादियों के निमंत्रण आए, महिला संगीत में बच्चों को कल्चरल प्रोग्राम के लिए बुलाया जाने लगा और प्रोग्राम में बुलाकर रिसेप्शन के पहले दूल्हा दुल्हन और परिवार बच्चों को खाना खिलाता है और उसके बाद रिसेप्शन शुरू करता है। दैट्स द कल्चरल एंड वी हैव टू वर्क फॉर दैट। होता है, बहुत छोटी जगह है जब वहां हो सकता है। और अभी रिसेंटली आने के पहले 10 दिन पहले नागदा से 50 किलोमीटर दूर उज्जैन एक हाईकोर्ट लॉयर है, उनके बेटे की शादी थी। They sent me the card and they insisted, मैं 55 बच्चों को भाई बस लेके गया उनके, एंड गणेश पूजन उन्होंने उन बच्चों के साथ किया। They started their marriage function with our children, so that can be done। ये हमारे अंदर है, हम सोसाइटी तक अपनी बात को कैसे दें। थैंक यू।
मैं आपसे कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ जो लिखा रहा। कुछ साल पहले क्या हुआ कि राष्ट्रपति भवन में कोई शादी थी जिसमें जो कि उनके सेक्रेटरी डॉक्टर थे, मेरे दोस्त थे जो कि एफएल सेक्रेटरी थे, उनकी शादी थी। मैं निम्मी जो यहाँ पे 44 इयर्स की है, मैं उसको लेके गया। कम से कम 150 आदमी थे लाइन में। तो लाइन जहाँ मैं तो वहाँ लाइन शुरू होती, तो इसको आगे ले गया। तो राष्ट्रपति जी स्वयं नमस्ते कह रहे मेरी बेटी को, क्योंकि ही वाज विदाउट एनी सिक्योरिटी। व्हेन वी वेंट टू द स्टेज, तो हमारे दोस्त हैं, देखा निम्मी को, हट जाओ, निम्मी आ गई। दी डॉटर ऑफ दैट माय फ्रेंड, उसको एक महीने पहले बोला तेरी शादी हो रही है, शी वाज नॉट गेटिंग अ गुड मैच, एंड जो कुछ भी है मिल गया। एंड आफ्टर दैट मैन वाज ओवर, सबसे पहले इसका आशीर्वाद दिया दोनों ने मेरी बेटी को, क्योंकि ये तो संत है, जैसे उन्होंने डॉक्टर ने कहा, उसको कुछ नहीं चाहिए, भगवान की तरह रूप होता है। आई जस्ट वांट टू ऐड समथिंग दैट actually happened with me, but that's in 2017, 27th of February. Bless you all, love you.
And one question to Mr. Sumit Agarwal. So how you keep yourself motivated?
ये वाला क्वेश्चन बहुत सुनने को मिलता है, how do I keep myself motivated? And a lot of people say that we have a lot of role models, that people with Elon Musk, they also say that they have neurodiversity. Bill Gates said that he has autism. Bill Gates ने कहा कि उनको भी autism है. But I think आपके रोल मॉडल आप खुद होने चाहिए, आपके माता पिता भी नहीं होने चाहिए, आप खुद होने चाहिए। आपको अपनी जिंदगी रोज जीनी है, ना आपके माता पिता जिएंगे, ना आपके कोई दूसरे रोल मॉडल जिएंगे। और आप खुद रोज सुबह उठ के आईना में खुद के सामने खड़े होकर नहीं बोल सकते that these are my dreams and I will achieve it, तो दूसरा कोई नहीं करेगा आपके लिए।
Thank you. It's a wonderful answer that you must be your own role model. Thank you, Mr. Sumit Agarwal. So this is the time to wrap up this session. So it's a quick, I want to summarize all the our panelists' views. So the adaptive social behavior, so it is a collection of conceptual, that is academic, social, that is the social skills, that is greetings and how to interact with people, and practical skills, how to the activities of daily living, etc. And but for most of the time, the so-called challenging behaviors that our persons with autism or intellectual developmental disabilities they show, it is actually the behavior is mostly it is not because of their fault. It is mostly because of our social gaze. So we have to change our mindset and our perspective. And our two self-advocates, they shared their lived experience, and they told us that only 1% of the persons with developmental disabilities are employed. 75% don't go to school. 70% parents experience high stress. And these, the statistics are very important. 80% do not get any peer group support. So the social exclusion, really, it is creating a lot of despair, and the mental health actually gets affected because of it, and it creates low self-esteem and self-doubt.
I just missed one thing. Only 10% of the population get any kind of early intervention support when it comes to PwIDs. Only 10%.
Only 10% get early intervention. That is also very, hard reality actually. So even my son also says that he doesn't think himself as disabled. A person with disability, they don't feel that they are disabled. Actually, society creates such a bad thing around the term disability that they feel the societal pressure on them, and it creates self-doubt and low self-esteem. So that should be challenged. The mindset should be challenged. And the people from every walk of life must be included in the society. So community inclusion is not only about disability, it should be from the people from every walk of life, and it is not a charity but a basic human rights. And so yes, we have to use the technology. Technology is a great enabler. And yesterday you have seen Elizabeth Bonker's session that a non-speaking person is presenting in front of you using a technology. So yes, we have a lot of challenges, but the power of coming together is always there. So we must be united. Yes, there is despair, but there is hope. So let us unite for a hopeful future. Thank you.
Thank you all our panelists and our panel moderator. Now we will felicitate our panelists. हम लोग सम्मानित करेंगे हमारे पैनलिस्ट को. I will request Chaitanya ma'am, Chaitanya Gami ma'am to come on stage. Chaitanya Gami ma'am will felicitate our panel moderator, Bratati Choudhary ma'am. Our panelist, respected Dr. Amrita ma'am. Our second panelist, Mr. Avik Mukherjee, self-advocate. Please come in the middle of the stage. Please come. Our next panelist, Dr. Sudeshna Chowdhury. and Mr. Sumit Agarwal. Thank you all. It was a wonderful session. And now we will go for a short tea break.